am such a goober sometimes, I swear. I totally didn't realize this, but the packaging that had this also had this. This is the replacement that I was going to use, and I don't know, didn't think that it was in there for whatever reason. I thought that I bought from separate sellers. So a couple things we're going to do first is I'm going to detach this for the sake of convenience. Just lift up on that to separate there. That way I can just set this aside, not have to worry about accidentally ripping some very, very fragile and old flex circuit. And from here, should be easy enough to just separate this again. I'm really glad I checked though, because I almost just threw the packaging away. It's like, oh, I don't need this anymore. Sometimes I'm just such a goof. I'm also going to put on some gloves for the sake of not getting fingerprints everywhere. You know, gloves always say one size fits all. I don't think that's the case. I don't think my hands are that big, but every time I put gloves on, I feel like a sausage, like fighting to keep my skin in the nitrile compound. Really cuts down on my mobility and stuff too. If my good friend from Taptic Digital's watching, what gloves do you get? Because I think I just got the black nitrile gloves online. I don't even remember what kind they were exactly or where I got them from. But if you have a better recommendation for my, I guess, abnormally large hands, that would be super helpful. I didn't think, I knew my hands were big, because I'm a big person, but I didn't think it was that bad. It just makes me feel like a monster. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit trickier, because if memory serves, there it is, the center button. Center buttons are very expensive. A new center button was $7. And I'm I don't really want to spend that much for a piece of plastic. I kind of wanted to get one of a matching tone, but I'm hoping that I have a white one, because I think that will kind of do the trick too. There we go. Okay. So what we're gonna have to do is separate this from the housing, if I remember correctly. I've done this one time before, so we're gonna be kind of learning together, which is always fun, I think. As the saying goes, do as I say, not as I do. Probably one of the very important things to not do is poke around the motherboard with a set screw driver. But if my experience in camera repair has taught me anything, brute force typically is always the answer. Even when it isn't. It usually works pretty well for me, so. Joking, of course. I very rarely use brute. I used to a lot, and then I learned what I was doing. I was I probably should be better. I'm also going to remove the screen while we're sitting here, because this is going to just kind of flop everywhere, and I really don't want to deal with that. I set that right there. Okay. now we've got a little bit of give there, because I think it's just kind of glued in. Want to be careful to not like warp the frame too much. Because then it'll be really hard to get this all put back together naturally. Sure, you don't need me to tell you that. I believe this is just the ground component, so I might be able to just sever that right there. Clean that out there. And then from here, that's important. The spacer just went flying off. That's awesome. Cat is trying to leave. Kind of hurtful. We'll not take that personally though. Power on through. Okay, there we go. Easy peasy. Look at that. Yeah, so that's just adhesive that's holding this to the body work. And then I believe that's a grounding strip there, so we don't need to completely sever that. Just need to get under here, separate the adhesive that's holding that onto there, and then from there shimmy this board out like so, just like that. There we go. Now we have the replacement here, just red. The idea behind this, I was wanting to put together an iPod that kind of resembled a daffodil, so to speak. I do like flowers quite a bit. And the common daffodil, at least the one I googled, looked like it was yellow kind of thing, or yellow and orange. They don't have any like orange click wheels, unfortunately. So this was the closest I could come up with. But I like to think that the intention is still there. I might have to like communicate the specifics to the soon-to-be iPod owner, but hopefully, like I said, the intention is what counts. So now sliding that back in there. That is all set. It is stable. That can now sit back properly to where it belongs. Hatefully. Kick that over. It's probably going to be a little bit tough to get that to set properly, and then this will need to stick there like it did previously. So that's cool. That is done. It's all cool in the gang. Remove that front element there. It's a nice little like plastic protector deal. The font on the menu switch is definitely different, as I'm noticing. I don't think anyone else in their right mind would notice and or care, but that is sticking out to me slightly. I'm gonna go dig around in my box of iPod parts and see if I can find a white center button, because I think that'll look better than the black, personally. Because we have this, that, and then black. I feel like that kind of draws away from it too much. I really wish that a red button, as I mentioned previously, was like $7. And I think that's a little absurd to me. Not to say like I'm not trying to be the cheapest person in the world, but $7 for a plastic circle just seems a little bit absurd. A colored plastic circle, I should say. So if I could like use some of the garbage that I have. I have this right there. That would probably just make me feel a little bit better about this whole situation. But I'm not seeing. I have a white one right here. Where's the white centerpiece? What the hell? literally have the white. This is dumb. This is so dumb. Okay, this will dig through here. Board. At one point I thought I'd be able to like sell some of these things. You know, all these like iPods and parts and stuff. I've come to terms with the fact that nobody outside of me is interested. So, I've accepted my fate as an iPod hoarder. I'm just confused as to where things have disappeared to. So that's not it. What the hell? Yeah, this is the life I want to live. Just digging around trying to find a white centerpiece for something that, you know, the buttoning will really kind of care all that much about. I guess it would be silver then, not white. But still, I would. What the hell? What are we doing here? I've got drives. I've got drives out the wazoo, but I don't have a center button. That's so confusing. An effort was made, okay? An effort to wear gloves was made. It's just not going to work out as well as you want it to. For me, at least, I'm not used to it. I don't enjoy it all that much. So the problems we're running into here is that the board itself is not malleable enough, whereas this one wants to be bent this particular way. This one is not accustomed to that. So it needs to kind of sit there, right? And then this needs to kind of pop in right over top. So I'm gonna have to remove this plastic covering, hold this in place, and then boom. This doesn't look great. I'll be honest, this isn't my favorite look, but I think in terms of it's acceptable. It is acceptable. Again, I don't really think anyone cares as much as I do about these things. Yeah, okay. So here's I thought for whatever reason I could slide this in from the back end. I think it will only go in from the front, which totally makes sense from a construction standpoint. That just kind of bums me out. So what we're gonna have to do is disconnect this front, because of course nothing's allowed to be easy, but hopefully just kind of glide it right in here. Don't have to take the full thing off. Pa-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Alright, so now to disconnect, or to reconnect, I should say, not disconnect. Already did that. I want to reconnect the screen. Just slide that in there, and click that down. There we go. Good to go. And that's pretty much it. And then from here, we have our screws. All 6 of them. And as I previously mentioned, 3 on each side. not trying to, like, I don't know, hold down the space shuttle here, but you don't want them to be too loose. But the plastic is fragile, especially if you're putting on an older front. And also the bodywork is kind of malleable, so you want to bear that in mind. Boom. There we go. Now all that is left to do is put that over there. And then I need a drive. I think this one is good. I have two drives here. One of them I think is bad, and then I think the other one is good. That one's the bad one. Okay. This one is presumably good. I'll take this. And then this, of course, connects right there. And then we have so it sits there, and then we need to put the back on like so. I'm still waiting on the battery. Once I get that, then I'll do that repair as well, or that replacement I should say, but that's pretty much how you do it. There's still some smudge under here, so I might take this back off and clean out, but for now, this will be fine. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it as always. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. Catch you on the next one.